Hello everyone. Well, who doesn't love a good slasher? Some good old-fashioned bloody fun. And today I've got 3 slasher horror books. They're all from indie authors. They're all fantastic. One of them takes a more straightforward approach to the slasher. The other 2 expand on it and put their own little twist. But they are all fantastic, and these are 3 books you're going to want to read to get your slasher fix in. And before we get started, I want to remind you that I have horror books for sale. And if you want to read any of the books you see on your screen, they are only $1 each at the link in the description. And I will also put that link in the pinned comment as well. And check out my Read More Horror t-shirt. There are many sizes and colors available. There's a link down below if you want to purchase one for yourself as well. All right, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called Europa Halls. This is set in a private boarding school in Belgium. And this is more of the traditional slasher type story. Things you're going to be very familiar with. It really gave me some Scream vibes to it, which is never ever a bad thing. And it's about this 6 girls who meet in this school. They are all best friends, thick as thieves, very tight. They have their own little chat group and everything. And right from the beginning, we're going to see a horrific death of one of these girls, right in the first chapter. And we're going to have our first suspect, because like any good slasher, this one is going to have no end to who could be the killer, which really adds to the suspense, because there's going to be all kinds of people that you'll probably point a finger at. There's going to be some red herrings, and I love that kind of thing. And they start getting these weird text messages from an unknown number, the killer actually lets them know which one is going to die next. And sure enough, bodies start piling up and their number is reduced in half. They're getting a lot of attention for this. A lot of people don't know how to act around them. They can really only trust each other. So they're not willing to really go outside their group to try to find help, but the police are involved. But the police woman in charge, she doesn't seem to be very helpful, even though she says she's doing her best to find out who's performing these murders. And as the tension builds and people even outside their group start dying in very bloody, brutal ways, like I said, we're going to have different suspects and we're going to have different people who might do it. There's there's a boyfriend of one of the girls who's been gone for a while. He just seems to have disappeared, so maybe he could be the one. There's an ex-girlfriend of one of the girls that shows up about halfway through the book that we know about but haven't seen, and now she's there, and that's kind of suspicious as well. And just there are other people and other things that take your mind down one path. Until we're going to get to the end and find out exactly who the killer is and what their motivations are. I absolutely love this book. It takes that basic slasher formula, puts it in book form, and it's like you're watching a movie in your head while you're reading it. There is a sequel coming out to that early next year, so you want to get in on this one now. Europa Halls. And there is a link down below where you can purchase your copy through Amazon, and I highly recommend it. And next we have Carney. This is about an island that back in the early 1900s was the home of a permanent carnival, until one day a horrifying, bloody, brutal set of murders took place on the island and they got shut down. So now it's the remains and the husks of these rides and what was left over from the carnival are just sitting off on this island, which of course everybody has stories about. They say it's haunted. They say something evil is lurking there. Now in the modern day, we're gonna read about that massacre at the beginning of the book, and then we're gonna jump to the modern day. And there's a disgraced journalist who his star was on the rise in the journalistic world, but he got caught up in cancel culture. He was recorded doing something, and somebody snapshot his some screenshot of some tweets that he wrote when he was drunk and angry about something, not being very nice to an ex-girlfriend, let's put it that way. And he was secretly recorded going on a rant about her and saying some very not very nice things. And so of course he's canceled. Nobody wants to work with him. And so he's forced to move to this town where this island is to live with his parents. But the editor of the local paper, it's been a while now, and he was willing to work with this guy. Maybe this could be his comeback. He kind of gives him the opportunity to do some freelance work and write some articles for the local paper based on his past journalistic reputation. And he decides to do an article about this island and the urban legends around it and everything. And he finds a young woman who, she's kind of weird and kind of cryptic, but she's also really beautiful, you know, and he's really attracted to her. And she says, hey, I'll take you out to this island. I know how to get on there. And I'll show you some things that not a lot of people know about. And basically there's a cult of people, goth, punk looking younger people, who believe that the evil on this island is still alive, but is very weak, and it needs a lot of blood sacrifice in order to come back to life, and they want to bring it back to life. Now he doesn't believe any of that, but he needs this for the story, so they go out to this island together to see what they can see, and that is going to escalate from there. He never quite believes anything about this story. She seems to be very sincere about it, but we're going to find out that there is something on that island. Something very horrific, something that does require a lot of blood sacrifice because it wants to come back and it wants to eat human flesh, of course. And as this gets out of control, and as he's at first an unwilling participant in what's going on, he starts changing, and now he can only think about what a great story this is actually going to be. And yeah, things are just going to get wild. They're going to get crazy. They're going to get bloody and gory and very disturbing, some of these kills. There's going to be a massacre and enough blood to fill a swimming pool out there eventually. Yeah, this is a really great book. I had a lot of fun with it. Come on, it's at an abandoned carnival with a clown as a mascot. How can you go wrong with that, you know? And I highly, highly recommend this one. It's a lot of fun. The pacing is excellent. You won't be bored. You'll be able to get right through it, and you'll have a lot of fun while you do. And there's a link down below where you can pick up your copy of Carney, C-A-R-N-I, through Amazon. And of course, no slasher book list would be complete without something about killer clowns, and this is where we have Revenge of the Clowns by Cesar Ruel. This is the sequel to his book The Circus of Hungry Clowns, which I reviewed on my channel before. This is the follow-up to that. This one takes place a few months after the events of the first book ended, and our main protagonist barely escaped with his life and the life of his son from these evil clowns and their traveling circus, where they trap all these people and kids and feast on their flesh, because these are not just people dressed as clowns that are evil. These are actually clowns from hell, evil, that love to eat. They're very hungry, and their preferred food is the flesh of children. And we're going to see what happened at the end of that first book. And one of the clowns has escaped. He's in horrible condition. He's almost to the point of death, but he did escape. And when he crawls back to the cave where they live, trying to regroup and recover and heal, we're going to find out about some rituals they do and perform that helps them heal faster than normal. And pretty soon they're under a new name, and they decide to get the band back together, and they were going to have this traveling circus of clown acts again. And when the man finds out about this, our protagonist from the first book, he's suspicious, because even though they have a new name and don't seem to be associated with the people who had the last one, he wants nothing to do with anything with clowns or circus, especially near him. And sure enough, he's going to go there, and we are going to see some horrific, bloody, and brutal ways that these children die during this act, during this carnival. Because basically what these clowns do is they drug people or gas people and it affects their mind. So they're looking at all these, they're looking at their own children being slaughtered in the middle of the ring for everybody's entertainment. But in their mind, they're seeing something else. They're applauding and cheering. They think it's great. It's just great fun because they're brainwashed, right? Or hypnotized, or gassed, or drugged. And then when their children don't come back, they're just told, hey, they ran off and joined the circus and they're fine and happy and living their dreams. So they don't really think much about it. But they sneak in, this man sneaks in to see for himself if this is legitimate, and he can't say or do anything to stop it because he will die. They have control inside of that tent. And we are going to witness some of the most brutal, unique murders. If you can think of a way to dispatch a child gruesomely, this author has thought about it, and it's very disgusting, very gross in a good kind of way, you know. And there's also some twists in this book. He's going to get some help from a local female sheriff who wasn't around for the last events, for the last circus, but there's going to be some twists with her, which really adds to the tension and the story. And yeah, this is just a fantastic sequel to that first one, but you don't have to read the first one to be able to pick up this one, and it's a standalone story by itself. It's terrific, it's bloody, it's gory, it's great. I highly recommend it. And I do recommend getting the first one though, and you'll just get a little more out of this one, I think, because you'll know the background. But yeah, if you just want to read this one by yourself, that's fine. Again, I highly recommend it. There's a link down below where you can purchase your copy. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.